if you could give one piece of advice to every pet dog owner in the world, and they were gonna follow that advice. So it was magic advice. You gave that suggestion, and then they're gonna follow it. What is that advice? What would you give to them? What would you tell them?
Stop making your dog the king of the house, the king or queen of the house. There's something that I think that a lot of people don't grasp, is that they think they're helping their dog by babying them and letting them do what they want and making them feel like they're the king of the house. But that actually harms your dog, because it makes your dog feel lonely. And I know that's hard to understand, but if your dog feels like he's the boss and he's in charge and nobody else in the house is in charge, he feels lonely in that leadership role. And that's why a lot of dogs show problems. They show like they're unhappy and stuff like that, because they're not doing their job. They're not being a dog, right? So we need to realize that, sure, we need to be good to our dogs and be nice to them and love on them. And I'm the first one. I'm super affectionate with my dogs. Everybody that knows me knows I'm constantly being affectionate with my dogs. But when it comes to my house, they're dogs. They just are pets. And that's more beneficial for them than if I try to make them my kid, my baby, right? Like, no, they're my dog. They're treated like dogs, and they are happy being dogs because that's what they are. So if I could give one piece of advice to all pet owners out there, is treat them like dogs. Don't treat them like babies, because they're not your baby. They're your dog.
CR Canine, you guys also do pet dog training, board and train programs, and so forth, right? So what do you see like being, this is a genuine question because I want to see if it kind of translates as well from where I'm at. What are some of, like, let's say the top 2 most common problem behaviors that you guys run into?
So right now, the number 1 behavior I say will be reactivity on leash and when out, and I think that has a lot to do with COVID. All these dogs, were penned up and they didn't have the social skills that they had taught before when we were able to go everywhere. So reactivity and how to deal with situations where they don't like. And the other part is lack of communication with their owners. Like, their owners think they're doing something, but the dog is doing something completely different, and the dog can just have no clue what is expected of them. They think this is what my owner wants me to do, but the owner just not actually portraying what they want from them. So just clearing, for me, what we have the most success with and fixing all these cases is teaching the dogs a very specific set of rules. This is what you need to follow, and then other than that, just sticking with that. Because dog training is something that's like very cool when you first get the dog and the dog is doing all these things, but there's something that a lot of people miss, is that we train the dog, but they have to maintain the dog. So we train it, you maintain it. And we have it a lot, I'm sure you see it too, where people call us and they're like, hey, my dog's not listening to me anymore. He was doing great the first month and now he's just not listening to me anymore. He forgot everything. And then we walk in and we're like, sit down, heel, place, and he's just killing it. They do everything for us because they have the repetitions of us making them do it always. Like, we always enforce the rules, versus one little bit of slack and they learn. It builds hope. Maybe next time I don't have to do it either. Maybe I don't have to do that either. I don't have to do any of this. And the first time they get away with it, they just keep trying it. So just clear communications and just teaching them how to be dogs in the world, in the environment, because they're finally coming out again. So that's for at least the reactivity and the just not understanding what people are asking of them at home.
Yeah, for sure. I see that pretty common as well. Having kind of a lack of follow through.
Yes.
Like your dog. Not that I think dogs are stubborn per se, but the advice that I give to clients quite a bit frequently is like, you have to be more stubborn than your dog is. So if you're asking them to sit, and they're giving you the finger, you have to make sure that if you're asking them of things, that you have that follow through, and you're going to be stubborn enough to make sure that they sit when you tell them to, right? Definitely. So it's like a snowball effect, right?
Exactly.
Give them a rope, they want to be a cowboy.
Yep.
Right?
And the dogs get everything. They do something because they're getting something out of it. So if they can get what they want without having to do what you're asking them, they will do it every time, right? It's just like, can you get your paycheck without going to work? Then I will never go to work. I'll go get my paycheck and that's it. So it's the same with them. If they find that, they'll find 1,000 ways not to do it. Like, I think Bill Gates was the one that said, if you want find a hard job, find a lazy person because they'll find the easiest way to do it, right? It's the same with dogs. You find a way to get out of what you're asking them to do, watch. He'll find all the ways to get out of what you're asking them to do. You're completely right. You just have to be more stubborn than your dog.
Yeah.